So here are the calculator functions for chapter 4. For all the 4.1 problems, it's getting you to calculate the correlation coefficient. And for 4.2, it's calculating the linear regression equation. But the process to get both is the same, so I'm going to go over both here. Before your calculator will display the correlation coefficient, there's a one-time setup that needs to be done. This would only need to be done usually it's if a student has a brand new calculator or one that hasn't been used for a stats class by somebody else previously. And but anyways, only needs to be done once unless you're completely resetting the calculator back to its defaults. So to get to this setup, hit the second button and then catalog, which is the 0. And then I just typed a D to get down here, but that's because I have a keyboard. So you can just arrow all the way down. And you're looking for this, they're all in alphabetical order. So just keep arrowing down until you get to diagnostic on, have the arrow next to that, and hit enter. And then it'll say diagnostic on, you hit enter again, it'll say done, and that's all you need to do. And like I said, you only need to do that once. Then for all of these that are asking for either the correlation coefficient or the linear regression equation, you're then going to start with stat edit again, and you're going to enter the x values in L1 and the y values in L2. And in the Connect homework, the first list is always your x, the second list is always your y. So the students don't really need to learn how to make the decision about which one to use for x and which one to use for y. So they always line up with, so they'll enter the first list first, second list second. Makes it pretty easy. I've already entered the numbers here, but you would enter them just like before. And then you'd go back to stat and calc again. And this time we're going to go down to 8. You'll notice that there's also a linear regression in number 4, but that calculates it as ax plus b. And of course that would work as well, but within the homework, it always displays the equation in the a plus bx format. So to make it a little easier and more consistent for the students, I just always have them use number 8 from the start. And then it wants an x list and a y list. The x list is always going to be L1, y list is always going to be L2, and there aren't any cases in the homework where there's a frequency list. The reason my L2 is showing up here is it's a leftover from the one in chapter 3 where we used an L2. So it's important, of course, to delete that. Otherwise, it's going to weight all your L2 data by L2, and that doesn't make any sense. And they don't really need to store the regression equation, so we can leave that blank and hit calculate. And so then it gives it to us in the format y equals a plus bx, where here is the a and here is the b. When they're entering that into the homework, they have to enter the a value and then the plus sign and then the b value and then the letter x from the keyboard. So it has to be entered in the equation format. 4.1 is pretty much just asking for the R value, the correlation coefficient, and that just shows up here. So these are all pretty straightforward. It then, in a lot of cases, some of them ask you to make a scatter plot, and you can do that. Usually there's a way to enter the numbers into the software, the Connect software, to enter the pairs of numbers and not have to like find where to put the dot. So look for that. And then often it asks for these, the above average, below average, like when one goes up, the other goes up, and you're looking for the one saying that they go up and down together, but neither one causes each other. Um, and then with the ones where you've got the equation, it'll also be asking for what would you, if one of them changes by a certain amount, how much would you expect the other one to change? So those they multiply by slope. And then they say if the price of eggs is this, what would you expect the price of milk to be? And so then you plug the price in as x to the full equation and calculate it like that. But there aren't any special calculator functions to do all that. That's just done manually. So that's about it for chapter 4.